Good morning, Flosstube. I'm Lori, and welcome to Once Upon a Stitch. Today is Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. It's my 168th Flosstube. Welcome. Welcome if you're new. I hope you stick around and see something that might inspire you. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm always happy that you do. I was going to videotape yesterday, but I had nothing to wear. Go figure. I remember saying a lot when I was out and about working and younger and doing more things. But now I have no place to go and plenty of clothes to wear. Actually, they're too dressy to wear at home. But anyway, no, if you can hear my voice, I have a cold. And yesterday, it was a little bit worse than today, so I decided to give it one more day to feel better. Okay, I don't have too much to share, but I did say I was going to come back because I am participating in my little group with the Great British Bake Off, and then additionally stitching on some whips and new starts. So let me just give you a brief update of the week. So last Tuesday, on Tuesdays, we meet up at the library in Clark, and it's from 12 to 2. And it's just a little get together, who stitches, cross stitches, who quilts, who crochets, who knits. It's just open to anybody who wants to come for 2 hours. And then this Saturday is our monthly meetup, and that's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the last time we had a nice bunch of people there. I think it was like 12. And it's nice that people can make it. A lot of times people can't make it, so you have less people, but it's always so nice when it's a full room and you hear so much talking and what everybody's doing, and it's lots of fun. So that was Tuesday. Thursday, was it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. We were expecting a little bit of snow. We didn't know how bad it was. So Layla slept over so that Michael doesn't have to get up in the morning and drive here before he goes to work. We didn't know how the roads were going to be. So she slept over Thursday night into Friday, and then she stayed the day Friday. And then we brought her home when Rebecca gets home with Caleb. So we did that. And then Saturday, I attended it's a pop-up shop, they call them. Jimmy, who is Needlework with Jimmy, he has a Facebook group as well. He dyes fabric. He used to be Needleworker's Delight, and the store closed, and now he does pop-ups in different places. And he has a few retreats here and there. So he did a pop-up at the hotel where we had the New Jersey Stitch Retreat, hosted by Arlene Cohen, who's worked by ABC. So 12 of us met up from our stitching group that we originally met at the retreat. And we keep in touch and we Zoom. So it was nice to see everybody in person and give people a hug. And so we had a lot of fun. I bought very little. I was hoping for more fabric in certain colors, but I didn't find what I was looking for. But we'll be going back next in March, the 15th, I believe. I think Romy from Romy's Creations is going to also be there. She's in from Italy because of market, and she's going to stop by and come for a visit. I believe she's giving a class for anybody who wants to take it. So that was Saturday. And then Sunday, we went over to James and Amy's house. It was Talia's 2-year-old party. Today's her actual birthday. And I'm just looking. I have to show you this photo. I meant to get my iPad. Not my iPad, my tablet. And so... So Talia turns 2 today, and Amy's sister takes pictures of them every year. And this is like with 1 year, the difference. Oops. Isn't that amazing? 1 year. So Jana's 3.5 exactly, and Talia is 2. 3.5? 2, 3.5. Yeah, they're 1.5 years apart. I have to think. So anyway, we were all at Michael and Amy's house on Sunday, and we had a nice time. And my in-laws came, my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and her boyfriend came out, and Michael, Rebecca, and the kids were there. So it was a nice group. Her parents, her aunt and uncle and cousin were there. So that's like our very immediate family. Alrighty. I was stitching on something last night, and I always forget to mention it when I show the progress of it. But I'm talking about it at the beginning because it has a little bit of effect of what I'm going to show you as far as the finish. Angel of Light, I work on it. I try to work on it every month, and I try to work on it at least on the 23rd of the month. And and it's in remembrance of my Libby, who was 11 months old on the 23rd, exactly 11 months old. And she was 11 months when she passed. So on the 23rd of every month, I stitch on Angel of Light by Lavender and Lace. And Vicky, the Virginia stitcher, she had reached out to me when I said I was doing this, and says, I'd like to start it with you. It's not a stitch along, it's basically a start along. And I says, I would be honored that you thought to do that. So, and also Lynn, the Lancashire stitcher in England, she also started it. And occasionally it comes up on her Flosstube that she's working on it. And Vicky and I stitch a lot of the same patterns, unbeknownst to ourselves, until we see it on our Flosstube and we think, oh, I'm stitching that, or I stitched that. And so today she showed, she has a new video up. It's been a couple of months. So I'm so glad. I didn't watch the whole thing yet because I wanted to get this up. Because of my cold, I wanted to make sure that before it got worse, as the day progressed, I wanted to video this, and then I could rest a little bit and watch the rest of her video. But she's working on a cottage garden sampling, cottage garden samplers, I think it's called, and the pattern's called Forever and Ever. And she's working on it right now with Lynsi, who's Blushing Pink Stitches. I'll put all the names on the bottom in the drop down, and they're working on this pattern. And Vicky happened to mention that sometimes it's hanging behind me, and right now it was down in my living room because of the season. And so I decided to bring it up and give Lynsi and Vicky a little bit of, I don't know, some inspiration to keep going on theirs. So anyway, that's this one. And then with the end of February and St. Patrick's Day is coming up for March, I do just a little vignette in a section of the living room, mostly for St. Patty's Day. And I brought my few pieces that I have. I didn't do a new one this year. I don't even know if I have one, but for a little vignette this year, I have, this is a Lizzie Kate Flip It, March. And you'll see a lot of this fabric as a finish. Then I have Celebrations of the Season, what's it called? This was the first one that Hands On Design did for March. And usually I put this on a wooden board, and then I put something like this behind it. Then this is another Lizzie Kate. I'm not sure if it was just called Luck. This I have plaid. This is Primrose Cottage, March monthly. This was the original monthly pieces, I believe, that they had. And I finished it with a little bit of rickrack. And then I put up a border around it. And then finished it with rickrack. This was an Annie B's. I don't remember the name of it, if it was called Hoot. I think there was like 2 or 3 patterns in it. I gave the pattern away. Again, same fabric, some rickrack. And then finally, this is I think it's Country Cottage. The cottages, monthly cottages. This was my March one. The bulb, I guess, moves. There it is. And it has a 4-leaf clover charm in there. And I make it as a little quilt. I have a quilt stand. And here's the sleeve that I would hang it in. And I change them out every month. I mean, some of you that have been with me from the beginning have seen all these. But I noticed that I was getting a few more new viewers. So I thought I'd just share a few things of what I have for the holiday to put out. Okay, so what have I been stitching? Let's start with this. I took out Nutcracker Village. Excuse me. And I'm trying to find the one I'm working on. This is the new one. I guess it helps if I look at the picture. Ice cream parlor, this one. Okay, I finished the ice cream parlor, which is this one by Country Cottage. This is the Nutcracker Village. So I had to do the inside of the window and all the snowflakes, and I think that was it. Oh, and the bottom snow. So that's where that one is. And then when I finished, I started the next one, which is Drosselmeyer's Toy Store. And this is what it will look like. So here's the first row completed. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So I started the next row. It says to leave 2 spaces between each row, but to butt up the houses, like the holly branch leaf here, they would touch. So, so that's what I did. And so I have this row and one more to go. So it'll be a while before I get to finish that. But I do enjoy stitching on it. It's on a 28 count Country Mocha Lugana. And one of the little patterns went on the floor, but it's going to stay there till later. Okay. Then, oh no, that's the Great British Bake Off. Then I decided to have a new start. And I pulled out Cookie Cutter Ornaments by Itzo Emma. And I started with the snowman. I bought the tarts and the little circles. And I brought this to the meetup on Saturday. I brought 2 pieces. One is one that I had to do so many stitches for the Great British Bake Off. And then I brought this so that in case I got to do another ornament. But there's so much talking and visiting and shopping that didn't happen. So here's the little snowman, all done. I'm going to do 6 because that's how many tins I bought. So I haven't decided on all of them yet, but I think the next one either might be the sleigh or the reindeer. It's hard to see it. The stocking. At first I couldn't figure out what this was. It looked like a tag, but it's like a cocoa mug. So anyway, I hope to get one more done in March. Since they finish individually, I counted each separately. If I do like the Nutcracker, that's all on one piece, so I'll count that as one. I know, strange. Okay, so I was, where did I put those? I was working, I'm doing whip go. And what I did was, the numbers were 7 and 8. And I was so excited. They were 7 and 8. 7's my anniversary. The next day was my birthday. Great. So I took out my chart and I wrote 7, 8. And I wrote February, February. And then when I went to like highlight it that I completed number 8, I realized it's not number 8. It's number 12. I had to white it out. It's number 12. And I'm like, where's 8? 8 is down here. So I stitched on this when I should have been stitching on this. And I put in a lot of stitches. So with that being said, I stitched on Christmas Quaker. I stitched on, no, I didn't stitch on Christmas Quaker. That was last week that I showed you. But I realized that when I went to do it, I showed you the pattern, but now I'm getting all confused. I stitched on that, but now I had to do Summer Quaker. And I have to put in two days is my whip go. So I put in 1 day and I left it in the Q snap, but you can see everything that I stitched on. And Summer Quaker is by Lila's Studio. And there were revisions. Somebody told me that there's some mistakes in the pattern, and I printed out, there were 3 pages to print out, and I printed them out, and I'm stitching from them, but I'll show you in my piece. I'm not really sure with the explanation of what she gave, but she said something about the word sunshine, and I didn't find any difference between the pattern I had and the one she had. The only thing I noticed, it's going to be hard to see maybe, but this last stitch on each of these leaves, most of them had just 1, and then 1 or 2 would have 2. But the spacing was always the same, and there was always so many spaces between each line between them. So I just took out that occasional second stitch, because even going down, there's only 1 stitch. So what I stitched on, since you've last seen it, is I brought Live in the 3 leaves, this motif and this motif, and this, I started this large one. So I will pick it up again this week, because this is the last week in February, and put in another day on this. And you'll see it the next time I do a video of how far I've gotten. But yeah. Okay, then I pulled out Rosewood Manor, Cornwall Cottage sampler. And let's see, this is stitched on I believe it's a 16 count white Ada. And I stitched on this side. It's a big piece, but I don't want to cut it yet. I brought all the leaves down. I brought the center section down. There's a little red in each of the centers. I stitched this motif and this one. I don't know if this is finished. I don't think it's finished. Let me see. No, no, this is a big motif. Trying to think it's the outside or the inside. Oh yeah, it's a big one. I think it's, I'm stitching on this side. So I did this motif, and I think I've started this one here. And this is the entire piece. If I'm a little off today, I'm sorry. My head is a little cloudy from having a cold, but this is where I'm at. So I stitched on this side this time. I think the colors are so pretty on this white. I know it's probably equally as beautiful on variegated fabrics as well, but I chose to do the called for colors, and I think they really look lovely on the white. Is that it? No, one more. Okay. The reason I stopped is because I started this video a couple of times, and now I don't know if I told you the story or I didn't tell you the story. But if I didn't, I'm going to be real quick. This was a start along with Vicky, the Virginia Stitcher. A start along, not a stitch along. And Lynn, the Lancashire Stitcher. And this is Angel of Light by Lavender and Lace. And I don't know if I told you, but I stitch on it on the 23rd of every month, usually 22, 23, or 23, 24, depending how it falls on. So I put in 2 nights. And let's see, I'll show you close up what I stitched first. I stitched this, which was confetti heavy, believe it or not, and then all of this. And this is what she looks like. This is on a 28 count country mocha. And it always amazes me when you know, you do, like when you're working on it real close, you don't see the detail, and when you hold it up, you really appreciate the designer's color choices. And sometimes you say, is that one color stitch, just one stitch of another color, really going to make a difference? But I guess it does, because yeah, love it. So that's my Angel of Light. Okay, that's the regular stitching. And then we did the Great British Bake Off, where we have assigned bakers to certain projects, and when they accomplish something, we stitch on it for a certain amount of stitches. So this week, Gather Butterflies won a handshake, which was 150 stitches, first place in technical, which is 100, and Star Baker, which is 125. So you had to stitch 375 stitches. And I had finished what it was assigned to Dena. I think that was Miss Bingley's library. So I substituted Gather Butterflies. So I had stitched the first one, and I started the second one, I think. Yes, I started the second one. But because I had to do so many stitches on it, there's the picture. Is that the only picture? Here's a better one. So I had finished Gather Butterflies, and I was working on this quilt one. But because there were so many 375 stitches, I don't know if that was enough, and it was a little bit, you know, like all over the place. So I decided to start the third one, which is the house one, this one here. And I put in 376 stitches. Though it looks really small, they're all in there. And it's stitched on a 16 count platinum Aida. That's how far I've gotten on this, and that's this one right here. So when it's called for again, I have the option of stitching on that or going back to the quilt one. way, it wasn't too bad because this week we only had to stitch for 3 people because there were, you know, multiple wins on a project, on a pattern for a baker. Then John had a handshake, so he was assigned American Welcome, which Vicky, the Virginia stitcher, is working on this as well. We stitch a lot of things the same. And here's the pattern. She started down in the water section. I started up in the this section. Yeah, where the flag is. So this is stitched on a 28 count Heritage Lugana. And I had to put in 150 stitches, and I put in 382. Because once it's on the Q-snap, you just keep going. So I filled in, this is what I brought to the meetup. And it took me the whole day to get 170 stitches. And then I came home and just said, I'm going to put a little bit more in this. So since you last seen it, I filled in the center of this star, these 2 motifs, the strawberry, the vine, and the leaf, as well as Land We Love. I think this was already there. Yeah, so isn't it beautiful, the colors? Wow. And I'm doing the call for colors, which are Color and Cotton and DMC. And I ordered them directly from Color and Cotton. And one more. I had to, this is for last place. So in last place, you only had to stitch 50 stitches. And I was working on the second little, see if I can do this, stocking. No, I cannot because pattern's all over. So I will do this. I work from a photocopy. Here's the book by Annie B's, The 12 Days of Christmas. And I had to put in 50 stitches. So I did the number 2, and that was, I believe, 90 stitches. And then yesterday, I wasn't feeling well. So, and I knew this was something, if I don't keep going, I wouldn't keep up with. And I do not like stitching on black fabric. And every stitch I was taking, every 3 or 4 stitches I took it out, one out, because I just didn't like the way they were laying in the black. And so it took me most of the morning and into the early afternoon to get these 2 turtle doves in. Now, I changed the color of the turtle doves, and it's so funny because I watched Dena half stitch, cross stitch, and she explained how she did the color, her color changes. And it looks beautiful. You can see the different birds and stuff. But that morning, I looked out the window and I saw, we have turtle doves that fly here. And I saw a turtle dove. And usually when you see one, you see 2. And our turtle doves are more of this color, this darker color. So I found, let's see, I think I wrote it down. Yes, I used Egg Crew for the light color, and then I used 640 for the darker color. And then I used a Call for everything else. So what I have left here is some branches on the bottom here, a little branch back here, and then to fill in this with leaves and a pear. And so I'm hoping, I usually watch the Great British Bake Off anywhere between a Wednesday and a Thursday. And then Thursday, when Layla's napping, sometimes I try to get in a couple of stitches. Because at night, sometimes I'm so tired I don't stitch. So, and then I might have Gianna here for the couple of days. I'm not sure. Everything's up in the air right now. So I have to do it where it's convenient for me to participate. So that's where I am on the 12 days of Christmas. And that's, so just 3 of the bakers won the 5 categories. So we'll see what the next week brings. And I think that's it. Let's see what I have. I have my 2 acrostics that I am working on. And I have 1 thing to stitch on yet for the 24 hours. And that's Sophie's stocking, which has hearts in it for the H in Pick Your Path. So I'll either stitch on her probably tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. And then on this one I completed, the word was cotton. I didn't post this month. I just felt a little bit overwhelmed with everything that's going on and stitching for the Great British Bake Off, and then, you know, this and that. So I do what's good for me. And right now that was good for me. Okay, so that's it. I'm just going to remind you that I did a giveaway in my last video, but the cutoff date is the 27th. So if you're interested in, it's going to be 1 giveaway for the 3 patterns. It's peace. Yes, I'm trying to read in the rejoice and joy. So these 3 patterns. Now, you have to put your answer in video number 167. You have to answer the question and you have to say the word, which you have to watch the video to find out what all that is. And then you can make your comment and I will add you to my list. Okay, so the cutoff date is February 27th at 11:59 p.m. So on the 28th, I'll make sure I have everybody entered. And then in my next video, Saturday is March 1st. Oh, I have a meetup at the Clark Library. And so maybe Sunday or Monday, the 2nd or the 3rd, I'll do a video. It's like it's a week from today or a day earlier. It depends how much I have to share with you. Alrighty. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I made sense in some of the things that I said. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I don't mind at all. One viewer contacted me and said she saw in Winter in the Village that in the first house I left out the shades. And what it was an outlining stitch that pretended it was like a pull down shade. She didn't know if I did that on purpose, that I left it out, or I left it out. So I came up right away, pulled it out, and I saw what she was talking about. So I next time I stitch on it, I have to decide if I want a shade or I want an open window. Okay, well, thank you. I always appreciate if you do see something, if you see I missed a stitch. A few people have told me, and I know it was missed. I go back, I put it in, so I'm always grateful that you took the time to really look at it and then comment and let me know. So I do appreciate it. I do not get offended at all. I'm always happy to hear it, that I didn't frame it and you say, oh, by the way. All right, guys. Till next time, have a great week. Love you. Mwah.